Hi, this is 365801 and this is another Year in BL review video, and this is my review of my 23 in 2023. So previously I hadn't done a list like this where I just wrote down some of the things that I kind of hoped or planned to read. But at the start of 2023 I did. I wrote down a list. I've got very scrappy handwriting, but I did choose to write down 23 with a couple of extras because I wasn't sure if some things were going to come out or not, which is the case. So I had like an extra one just in case as like a 24 if something didn't, and that was what happened, so just as well I did. So yeah, these are some of the things that I had on my list originally, but there is another one that I need to add in a second. There we go, that's a bit better. It's more of an accurate representation now. I've added in the extra one that was technically choice number 24, but like my my extra for if there was any titles that were not released, and that's what happened. So yeah, let's go through my 23 and 23. So number 1 and 2 were books that I already owned that I put on my TBR, and I thought I definitely want to read them in 2024. That was Everina Maxwell's Winter's Orbit and The Darkness Outside Us by Elliot Schrafer, and I did not read either of these. So they're still on my TBR. They're both sci-fi, male romance, and I really want to read them, and they're still there on my TBR. I know that The Darkness Outside of Us has just had a sequel announced, and I know that Winter's Orbit already has a sequel. The one, I think it was Jen from Jen Does the Thing, had recommended this one but not the second volume. So yeah, I'm interested in reading both of these, and I've wanted to do a sci-fi only male romance month where I just read sci-fi male romance, and that didn't happen, unfortunately. So maybe I should put them on my 2024's 24 and 24, and let me know if I should add them back onto my list. Number 3 was Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. This was one that I got from a charity shop, so it's a physical on my TBR, and I knew that I wanted to read some TJ Klune in 2024, and I did. I just didn't read this one. And I also didn't read the new one that came out either, even though I think I still have to do that for my NetGalley. So yeah, unfortunately, Under the Whispering Door did not get read, although I would like to read it. I just haven't got round to it yet. Number 4 and 5 was The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse and Mirai. These are 2 hardback copies that I got from charity shops. They're really cheap, but they're also ones that I thought might be quite interesting to read. I know that The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse got an animated version that was played on the TV, so I would like to watch that after I've read this. I know it's not going to take me very long. This is like a graphic novel, it's really easy, whereas Mamoru Hosoda's it's a light novel. This is by Yen On, so it is by Yen Press as well, so I would like to read these 2. They were cheap from charity shops, and I feel like they would be things I would enjoy, but I just never got round to them, so once again they're kind of going back on my shelf. We'll see if I get round to them later on. Number 6 was actually Den of Thieves by Charlie Adhara, and this is the second in the Monster Hunt series, which is the second series after the Big Bad Wolf series, and you know I love the Big Bad Wolf series. I love Charlie Adhara, so I was really excited about it, but the publishing date of Den of Thieves has got pushed back again, and I think again, I don't know how many times now, so I'm still going to be excited about it when it does get released, but I don't actually think it's going to get released even in 2024, so we might have to wait until 2025, so I don't know. But when it comes out, I am going to be excited and I'm going to read it. But my 24th pick of 2023 was The Other World's Books Depend on the Bean Counter, because I was pretty sure that I would get round to reading it, because I had a volume 2, I just needed to pick up a volume 1, and then of course volume 3 came out, so I needed to get that as well, and I did end up, so I read volumes 1, 2 and 3, and of course I loved it because it just ticks all of the boxes of the kinds of things that I like. I'm very excited. I think this month or next month the the novel version is going to be released, so I'm excited about getting that, the light novel version. I don't know how many volumes it's going to be either, so it'll be good to see what the difference is between the manga and the light novel. But that is one that I would like to pick up and have a go at. But I'm not putting that on any list because I don't know if I'll actually get it. And this one was also a bit of a gamble because I didn't know if I would get this one either. But I was pretty convinced that it would be one that I would enjoy, and I did. Number 7 and 8 was Fences, Striking Distance and Disarmed. These are by Sarah Rees Brennan and C.S. Pacat. So I did read a Sarah Rees Brennan and I loved it. And I did read some C.S. Pacat's Fence and I also loved it. But I did not read either of them. So they were sitting on my shelf all year. I want to read them. I want to give them a go. I've heard mixed things. Some people have read them and said that they loved them, and some people have DNF'd. So I don't know if it's going to be any good. I feel good about reading Sarah Rees Brennan just because I have such a soft spot for In Other Lands now. But I also know that it might not be for everyone. So I don't know. Maybe I'll enjoy them. But maybe I won't. We shall see. I will definitely be picking up more Fence because there's a new volume out soon, or now already, maybe by the time this video goes up, probably. So yeah, I will definitely be picking up more C.S. Pacat's Fence, but whether or not I actually get round to reading these is another matter. Number 9 was The Henchmen of Zenda by K.J. Charles. I was very happy to have picked up a physical copy of this one. This is one of her earlier ones, and I was all for it. I was like, swashbuckling adventure? Yes, please. Did I read it? No, I did not. Did I read some other KJ Charles? Yes, I did. Once again, the books on my list were not getting read, but other books by the same authors were, and that's definitely the case with KJ Charles. I ended up reading one of my last books I read for the year in 2023 was The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen, which I loved, and I will definitely have to try and put A Nobleman's Guide to Seducing a Scoundrel onto my 24 in 2024. So yeah, that's definitely going on the list because I have 100% confidence that I will read it in 2024. Whereas this one will probably go back on the shelf. I don't have confidence in myself at all when it comes to other KJ Charles. Now here I have 2 Alexus Halls. One is The Affair of the Mysterious Letter, which is my number 10 pick. And then I also put down for number 13 a London Calling series ? Because I wasn't sure if the book that was going to be released in 2023 was going to be part of the London Calling series or if it was going to be something else. And I'm still not 100% sure. I know it's part of the universe, but it is not technically part. It's like an offshoot. And that was 10 Things That Never Happened. So technically, number 13 is whatever book comes out by Alexus Hall that's kind of part of this universe after Husband Material, which wasn't Father Material, which will come out probably next year. I'm thinking 2025. So I did technically read that one, which was 10 Things That Never Happened. I don't have a physical copy of it yet. I will, because I loved it. It was great. But unfortunately, I didn't read The Affair of the Mysterious Letter. I didn't also read A Lady for a Duke, which is another book that I really want to read by Alexus Hall that I actually picked up a physical copy of and kind of plan to read as well. So yeah, I put way too many Alexus Halls on my TBR for 2023, and yet I'm definitely going to be doing the same thing again because I'm going to be putting on more Alexus Hall for Glitterland, for sure. I'm going to be reading in 2023. It's definitely going to happen. What else I read for Alexus Hall, I do not know. But yeah, I didn't read The Affair of the Mysterious Letter, but I did read 10 Things That Never Happened. Once again, not reading the things on my list, but kind of. So I'm going to give myself a half a point there. Now here I have number 11 and number 12. Number 11 I'm putting down as The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle, and number 12 was The Devil and the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. Matt Cain is the author of The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle. Now the problem is my writing is so horrendous that I looked at it and I think I wrote it down wrong because it looks like Ever and Anti-Mechanical, which is not what this is. And I couldn't think of anything else, but I was pretty sure that this was a book that I wanted to read. So I think I just wrote it down wrong. My brain just didn't work for a brief second. So yeah, these are the two. Number 11 and number 12. Did I read them? Well, I certainly didn't read The Secret Life of Albert Entwistle, although I really, really want to. It's supposed to be about a postman who lives his life until he's nearing retirement, and then kind of comes into himself and kind of comes out. And I think that's really beautiful, and I really like to read it. It sounds like a great book, and loads of people have loved it, so I would very much like to. The other one is The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, which, I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I still don't know what to say about it because it's super long. I don't know, it's like 700 pages or something stupid. It's massively long, and I was not really enjoying it, and until like the last 50 pages when I hated it and I wanted to throw it across the room. And then I read to the very end and I was like, oh, okay. I don't think I was particularly enamored, and yet I still can't stop thinking about it. And what I really love is the cover design. I really think it's a beautiful cover design. The background imaging looks like waves and water, but it also looks like skulls and things. Kind of, you can see things in it. It's like those weird wallpapers that you're like, is that a face? But it is actually got skulls and waves. It's just a really great cover. I did find it interesting, and I read queerness into it. I don't know if queerness is supposed to be, but I certainly did feel the queerness of The Devil in the Dark Water. It's set in the 1500s, 16th century, something like that, on a ship. And so those kinds of books can be quite monotonous because you've just got one location for the setting. But I did enjoy all the different aspects of it. And there's always that sort of speculative, is this supernatural or is it not, for Stuart Turton in The Devil in the Dark Water. So that was quite good. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but yeah, you might want to kill the author of the book by the end, especially that last 50 pages. I was ready to throttle someone, but it does mean I've read one of these books. Unfortunately, I haven't read the other. Now we're going on to some manga that was on my list, and this first one is number 14. It was My Love Mix-Up 6, Volume 6 to Whenever. So I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to Volume 9, but I didn't actually manage to pick up Volume 9 or do my big reread in December. But I did manage to get Volume 6, 7 and 8 read. I still have Volume 9 to read. I'm looking forward to it. I do want to do a big reread. It's just going to be good. I'm just going to have a good time. So yeah, I'm happy about this because technically these are 3. I know it doesn't count as 3 because it's just 1 on my list, but I feel good that I managed to get these 3 read. And I'm still a little bit disappointed because I didn't get to finish what came out in 2023. So yeah, this is by Aruko Wataru Hinekure. This is a shoujo beat title, but it is BL to the max as far as I'm concerned, and it is the one for the past 2 years that I've been very excited about whenever anything came out, and wanted to pre-order. This was one that I really, really did enjoy, and it's kind of a love comedy, and I love it with a little bit of queerness. So perfect. High school boys and girls and their love shenanigans. So good. Number 15 was Until I Meet My Husband. This is by Ryosuke Nanasaki with the art by Yoshi Tsukizuki. And this is the manga version, obviously, because it's got art. But I also was hoping that I'd be able to pick up the prose version as well, but I haven't been able to yet. So it's still on my list to buy, but I did manage to get this read in 2023, so this I can tick off the list. This is about a real life person. It's an autobiographical or semi-autobiographical. It's kind of his story, and he's someone who lived his life, and it's a very realistic portrayal of a gay man and his relationships and what he does in life, and trying to help support not only himself but other people in the community in Japan, which is, like we know, not always the easiest thing to do. They're not as progressive as we would hope, and I really enjoyed this. This was beautiful. This was lovely. The art was stunning, and the trials and tribulations of him in his relationships was something that I felt for. I really enjoyed. So yeah, this was a great one, and I read it, which is great as well. Now, unfortunately, for number 16, it was Spiritual Police by Yokanita. This is only 2 volumes, although I think there was supposed to be a third. I think it got cancelled, that kind of thing. So I don't think the story is actually complete, which is disappointing. I don't think it is in Japan, 3 completed volumes. But yeah, Sublime just did the 2. So that's all we're getting. And I still haven't read it. This has been in my collection for a long time, and I made the mistake. It's my own fault. I made the mistake of going, what's in your collection that you haven't read, you've had for ages, and you really should have? And I put this down because in my mind I was thinking, you're going to read it. You may as well. It's something that you don't need to collect any more of. You can literally just sit and read it. There's no excuses. So I'm not going to give any. Sorry, I didn't read it. I just didn't get round to it. I feel like I'm going to need to have like a Yokanita festival and just read all of my Yokanita and make sure that I've ticked off all of them, because there's still quite a few in my collection that I haven't read yet, and Spiritual Police is up there, and unfortunately it's going to stay on there, the unread, my TBR, because I haven't, and I don't have any real plans to read it unless no, there's nothing that's going to force me into reading it. So yeah, this is going to go back on my TBR, but maybe not on my list for 2024. Now, one that I am happy that I put on my list, that only has 2 volumes and that I actually got round to reading, was Star Collector by Anna B. and Sophie Schonhammer. This is by Tokyo Pop, and this is my number 17 on the list. So I had already read Star Collector Volume 1, but I didn't have the Volume 2 at the time, and so when I got it, which was quite quickly afterwards, I was convinced that I was going to read the second volume, but I didn't. It sat there for like a year or 2, just waiting to be read, because I had read 1 volume. It was really easy. I could have just picked up the second volume and read it, and yet I didn't. So I really had to go out my way to read this and reread Volume 1 because I couldn't quite remember exactly what it was all about. But I did get round to it. I'm very happy. It was on my list, and I feel good about that. So I feel like I've read most of my Tokyo Pop physical collection, which is a good thing. And this was one that was kind of like an outlier that I really should have gotten round to. So yeah, this was one that was happy to take off the list. So number 18 is another prose one, and that is one that I also have a physical copy of, which is The Cuckoo's Call by Lily Morton. I picked up an audiobook copy of this one as well. I can read it with an ebook through Kindle Unlimited, so I had all the reasons, like every access I could possibly want, and yet I hadn't got round to reading it. And it was kind of interesting because up to that point, this was the final thing in all of Lily Morton's work that I hadn't read yet, and once I'd read it, then I could do the video reading all of Lily Morton's work, and then I could look at all of the different books and what they have in common, what their differences are, areas that she repeats, or things that she might continuously examine, or the types of characters that she has, that kind of thing. Do a little bit more in depth. But for some reason, I just never wanted to read this book. I knew it was an age gap romance, and that was it. That was enough to me to not be excited about it, even though it's Lily Morton. Even though I know exactly what Lily Morton does, I can expect the same thing. But I just didn't want to read it. And then in the end of last year, 2023, I was like, just read it, because you know what, that's what you're in the mood for. You know what you're going to get with Lily Morton, even if it is an age gap. And that's exactly what I got. It was exactly what I expected. It was a fun time. I enjoyed it. It was romantic. It was sweet. it was Lily Morton. So yeah, I finally did read this physical volume, but I didn't even read it physically. I didn't even read it digitally. I just listened to the audiobook and went about my life whilst I listened to the audiobook. So yeah, there you go. I finally finished this, and unfortunately, at the point where I got to literally a couple of days of being like, yay, I finished everything Lily Morton. Literally the 3rd of January, she comes out with a new book, which I haven't read yet. So I'm now one behind again. So at least I've read this one. And I have another one up here that I did not read. And that's kind of a big one. And that was Gravitation. This is number 19 on my list. And I've just put up volume 1 and 2 omnibus version. Now, you might have heard that Gravitation is getting a reprint. Again, I know. But I already have all of the singles and the omnibus versions from Tokyopop. So if I pick up more Gravitation, I should probably read it, right? So I don't want to, and I'm not going to. I'm actually like saying this right now. Keep me accountable. I'm not going to buy a single Gravitation new edition fancy woo woo until I have read the Gravitation I have in my collection. And the thing is, I will want to read it, even the new version, to see what the difference is, to see the translation, to see the choices that are made, because I think it would be really fascinating. But at the same time, I don't want to have to purchase something. Although I'm thinking about it, what if it's a really good deal? No, I have 2 lots of Gravitation. I should be reading at least one of these. There's 12 volumes, so maybe I should just do like a volume a month. That would be quite good. I could just read the whole of Gravitation for 2024. That could just be one a month. That's an easy thing to do, right? I could probably do that. So maybe that's what I should do as a challenge. Because I've watched it, I just never read it. I've like picked up bits, and I've like been in the library when there's been like a volume 3 randomly, and I've read some of that. But I haven't actually sat down and read the whole thing cover to cover, front to back, from volume 1 through to volume 12. I haven't done it. I haven't read the extra novels. I haven't read the extra X. I haven't done any of that. So yeah, I kind of feel like as a BL fan, this is something, my moment of shame, because I haven't read Gravitation. And I put it on a list and I didn't read it even then. So the last ones are all digital titles I don't have any copies of. Number 20 is Love and Lust, I think that's what it's called. It's actually a 3-volume series from vampires and stuff, and everyone in the male romance community seems to really like this series, but I haven't read it yet. So I thought I'd put it on my list and read it in October, but 2023 September and October were not great months for me, and I did not get a lot of stuff done, and I was quite ill, and it was just generally not great, so I didn't get it read, which was when I was planning on reading it. So unfortunately that might get bumped to 2024. The next one is number 21, Lord of Eternal Night, which was another one that I was thinking I would read around October time. This is by Ben Alderton. And instead I tried to read one of his other books, which did not go down well, and it was a massive DNF, and it really put me in a bit of a slump, and that was in September. So yeah, I kind of blame Lord of Eternal Night is not being the book that I read, and I should have read that one instead, because everyone says that's a great book. But now I kind of feel a bit apprehensive about it. I was excited and now I'm not, and I'm feeling like I don't know if this author is an author for me. So yeah, if you've read one of these, should I pick them up? I don't know. Should I read Lord of Eternal Night? Let me know. Number 22 is Lilymans Folk, Volume 3 in the series, the Folk series, and I have read Volumes 1 and 2, and I was utterly convinced that I would read Volume 3 in 2023, but for some reason I have this something that stops me from reading the 3rd volume in a series. It's the same in the Tarot series one. The Last Sun I read, but I haven't read The Hourglass Throne. It's the same in the Adam Binder series. I've read the first 2, but I haven't read the 3rd one. And it's the same in this one, Lilymans Folk series. I just, something is stopping me from reading volume 3, because then it's over, and then I have to deal with the consequences of whatever happens in book 3. So yeah, I'm not emotionally ready for volume 3s, the book 3 of these series. And number 23 is Raven, which I thought was going to be one book. It turns out it's 2. Raven book 1 and book 2. They just had to split it up into 2. And this was my most anticipated book for, I'm gonna say, like 2022, I think. And then it didn't come out, and it didn't come out until October, November time. I think it was like the last day of October and then into November. That's when Raven finally came out, and I did read it and I loved it. Both books are devastating in different ways. And I will be doing a reread, but I will probably be doing it when Michael Furiolo has released the audio, and I have audiobook copies of them. And then I will listen to his fabulous voice, because he does Bertram's accent as Sean Connery, and I just cannot wait. It's gonna be great. So yeah, I'm very happy that I was able to read that one. So these are the physical copies of the books that I have that I read and versus what I didn't read. And you can see it's quite a difference. I obviously put more effort into reading the manga than I did into my prose, which is kind of standard. I would have to say that's really, yeah, par for the course. But there's definitely ones on the left that I know would take me like half an hour to read, like The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. I just didn't get around to do it. Ones that I will really enjoy, like The Henchmen of Zenda, I'm like, yeah, you know you're gonna love that. It's KJ Charles, you're gonna love it. And there's ones that I'm super excited about reading. Winter's Orbit, I'm super excited about it, and yet I haven't got around to reading it at all. So when it comes to the numbers, obviously we've got The Cuckoo's Call, 10 Things That Never Happened, The Devil in the Dark Water, Until I Meet My Husband, The Otherworld Books Depend on the Bean Counter, My Love Mix-Up, Star Collector, and Raven, I think was the digital title that I read. 8 altogether out of 24, which isn't great. That's a really poor showing. I got less than half. I would have failed my course if that was the case. So yeah, there's definitely reasons to put something on your list and other reasons not to. So I'm probably not going to put a lot or any of the ones on the left, unless there's some you think I really should. You're like, bitch, read this. What are you doing? Read this. You should be reading this. So let me know, is there any on that left hand side that you're like, you will love it, read it? And also, are there any ones that you're like, I know you have this, you should be putting that on your TBR for 2024. So yeah, I need to make up a list of 24 to read in 24, and I'm gonna try and be a little bit more honest with myself, and I'm like, are you actually gonna read this? Are you excited about this? So yeah, there's definitely some anticipated reads that I am excited about, so I might be putting them on. I might have even already read some things this year that I might just put on the list, because then it makes me feel better that I know I've actually read something. Is that cheating? I don't know. So yeah, let me know what you think of the ones that I didn't get around to reading, or the ones that I have read. I don't know. Is there some sort of common denominator that makes me think that that's the kind of book that I'm going to be reading, or that I'm more likely to pick up? So even if I own it, why have I not got around to reading it? So yeah, this is kind of another thing I need to analyze. But yeah, give me any recommendations for my 24 in 24 that you think I should pick up. Have you read any of the ones that I haven't? And what did you think of them? I'd really like to know. Thanks so much for watching. I'm 365801, and I make videos about BL manga, yaoi, male romance, and all that good stuff. Thanks so much for watching to the end of this video. Give it a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, share, and all that if you want to. It helps out the channel. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.